I'm Evan Goldstein from Old Bridge, New Jersey. I was in surgical residency many moons ago, and I met a woman at the time that was so instrumental to the process of surgery training. We fell in love about a year into residency. I had kind of dabbled with guys and with girls throughout my whole life and kept going back and forth and back and forth. And when I met her, I thought, okay, this is where I need to be, and this is the perfect match for me. There was many programs that would send residents to other programs. So we would go to Maryland, in Baltimore, Maryland. There's a place called Shock Trauma, which is like one of the best trauma centers in the world. And we would go there for 2 months at a time to kind of learn the trauma system. There was a snippet of time that we decided that we would do 2 months where she would go down to Baltimore, I would stay in New York, and then we would switch. I would go down. She left for Baltimore, and I started to really look at my world. I had left the city. We rented a little beach cottage out on the south shore of Long Island. I had a boat. I had a small little cottage. I had cars, and I was back. I was into this suburban world, and I was thinking about whether or not I was happy or not. And then I started to reach out online, and there wasn't Grindr or Scruff or any of the stuff that we have now, but it was more of gay.com, and I started to go into chat rooms and kind of talk to people. And it wasn't necessarily a sexual piece, though of course that was what was driving it, but it was more of, is it okay? Is it okay to be me? And these are the desires that I'm having. And is it okay to be married and with a woman and to have those, and kind of question who I was. And then I met someone, and I started to continue to talk to him. We were going back and forth with like texts and photographs and underwear and naked and fun stuff and things like that, because we were recording each other. And we would talk all day long. Finally, I think he reached his point where he's like, okay, shit or get off the pot. Where's this kid gonna go? This is the last time I'm gonna text him to come and meet me. And he texted me and said, come and meet me. And I, at that time, said yes. And I remember it was a really long process of getting into the car, going, and it's the same route that I normally take to go home. And it was at a pivotal light, and it's the same light I go to all the time, and I make the right-hand turn to head home to the shore. And I'm sitting at the light, and I knew that my world was about to change, and that I was gonna make the left-hand turn and meet him. And I was so in my world, and I just remember this lady behind me just honking the horn, going, go, go, go. And I was like, go where, go where? I thought I was still at the red light and this and that. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna make that turn. I went to New York. He lived down in the financial district, and parked the car and walked over to his apartment. And he wasn't at the apartment, but I could see him, because we've been courting for like a month, and I could see him coming up from the subway stairs, and it was right on the corner. And he was more than I could even imagine. Everything that we had kind of built up over the month of going back and forth with texts and calls and Skypes and stuff like that, it was 300 times that. It was like so much more than that. And then it was me living 2 lives, and it was me living 2 lies for a while. One time, I forgot to take my wedding band off, and we were out for brunch, and I'm sitting there, and we're talking, and of course I'm an animated talker, and he saw it, and he's like, what is that? We had, obviously, conversations about this. It got to the point where when I was in Baltimore, he had kind of written text to me saying that there's a few things that you can do in life to me. One is go back to your married life and just live happily ever after, or whatever you think is that. 2 is come out and be alone and just be you, and enjoy your world as being a gay male and do what you want to do in your life. Or come out and be with me. And those are kind of the three, but it's not what you're in now. And how she found out was a completely different story. She had known that she could feel that something was up. I mean, it was like 4 months apart, but it was like a year, 2 years apart, because there was no communication on me. I was sick and losing weight and all this type of stuff. And one day she surprised me down in Baltimore, and she found a cologne that he had gotten me for Christmas. But the note that was written on it was signed with his name that could be a unisex name. So her response was, who is she? I remember the conversation of that, like, no, it's not a she, it's a he. I knew that neither I nor her could walk away from it, but that someone had to. And there was no right way to do it. So one day I remember she went to work and she was staying overnight, and I had called my boyfriend at the time, I had called my family and said, okay, I don't know how to walk away, but I think I need to just do it. And everybody agreed that it was just the right time. And so while she was at work, I literally moved everything of mine. I grabbed everything, I moved, and anything that I didn't want, I just threw out. And I just kind of was really just getting rid of that world. And I left, and I went right into my boyfriend's apartment at the time. You look back now and how terrible it was, for her to kind of spend 5 years with someone and then that person's dead, basically dead, not even there, nothing, no existence of that person that's involved. And I walked into his world, and we've been in that same world for now 11 years. We have 2 kids together. The lies, the deceit, that sucks. I mean, I live with that every day, to know that that's just not the right way to be in one relationship. End that relationship is not through lies, deceit, and just not being who you are. So, I mean, I think now looking back, I would have done things a lot differently. If you were to just be true and honest and who you are, think about how much time you can enjoy just being you, right? I mean, enjoy. I mean, every day, I just love being gay. I love being who I am. And you walk around with confidence, and you're not lying, and you are you. I mean, which is so awesome.